Hey everyone, it is Alex again, and welcome back to another video. This is going to be about our day 2 progress for my League starter for 320. I did stick with what I said I was going to do, which is Volcanic Fissure, but some things did change, so I want to go over that with you guys. The main thing that is different is I am not Facebreaker. I have already converted to Brutus Lead Sprinkler. Facebreakers actually did not work with the projectile damage from Volcanic Fissure, so I had to switch over to Brutus Lead Sprinkler pretty much as soon as I could. They ended up not being very expensive. A Brutus Lead Sprinkler, I think I got it for 3C, I think the morning of Saturday, USTZ. So really, really cheap. I then bought a better one later yesterday that with perfect attack speed. I don't really care about the crit chance or the fizz damage, but I just went ahead and got max attack speed. But anyway, that's pretty much what changed about the build. We've gone to strength stacking, got our Aster Menace and whatnot. But a lot of it has stayed the same. So, just like before, we're going Volcanic Fissure with Earthbreaker Totems, which I already talked about. I went with supports that are pretty much what I decided with before. The problem about not being Fizz Convert anymore, and we're just straight fire, is that the support gems change a bit. We're still Earthbreaker, Fire Pin, LA Damage, Multi-Strike, and then I'm running GMP right now, but I think this might be better as like a faster attacks, something like that. You actually kind of run out of options for what damage supports you want to run. I have switched off of the life shield with the +1 totem, the unique, to Kohama's Fortress, and now I'm running a rare here. Obviously this one is pretty bad, but it allows me to run auras on my mana, which is why I've done it. Right now I'm just running Precision, Skitterbots, and Blood and Sand, which you may notice from the Precision that I also changed Resolute Technique. So we're no longer Resolute Technique. However, I didn't go full crit. I wanted my build to be a little tankier than the other ones typically are. So I've actually done a bit of endurance charge stacking and all of that with Valico, and I just went with LD Overload. The uptime on this is basically 100%, and it gets us a pretty damn solid 40% more DPS with no investment into crit whatsoever, which saves us like 20 points on the tree to get better damage than what LA Overload gives us. So that's what I decided to do. Otherwise, most everything is pretty damn similar. The tree is a lot of the same stuff. We just don't take this. Still went with the same medium cluster, all the totem wheel stuff. So really a lot of it stayed the same. The Ascendancy changed a little bit. I could no longer take Tessalio. Ended up not being that big of a deal. Ended up went with Hinakura for the % strength. I think that's about it as far as what has changed in the build. So I'll just kind of go from each section of what my character looks like right now. This video is getting recorded at 1 p.m. EST on a Sunday, so it's not even been 48 hours yet since League's launch. Been 47. So yeah, Brutus Lead Sprinkler, just running an uncorrupted normal version right now. I just got a quick 6-link just a few hours ago. I just slammed on a few life essences until I got something with strength and some resists, and I crafted on some % life. The fire resist is unfortunately pretty useless for me because I'm overcapped, and if I use my Enduring Cry with endurance charges, it's way more overcapped. But I still needed it, so it works out. This is pretty bad, but I did want the 6-link upgrade. As far as the helmet, I just got a rare pretty early on with the Ancestral Protector enchant. It's really, really powerful with this build. I'm not yet running Crown of Eyes with this build. It's kind of hard to fit Crown of Eyes into this build. You need much better gear to use that properly. So I'm also not going for the Iron Will, of course. Life resists, whatnot. I grabbed an Aster Menace. I went ahead and anointed Totemic Zeal, which is what I was planning to anoint anyway. It makes the build a little smoother, and the attack speed is a nice DPS boost. I already showed the shield here. Ring just went for life, accuracy, resists on this one. This one I went life, accuracy, and strength, along as well as the little resists. And the non-channeling skill reduction in cost makes my mana a little bit nicer. So Calm Spirit, this one is one I actually teched into the build because I was feeling a little low on damage, and I actually think it is working pretty well for the build. We are a Chieftain, and we've taken Valico with the life regen per endurance charge. We've got this for life regen per endurance charge, and then we've got, I believe, 6 endurance charges max. We won't hit it with just 1 Enduring Cry, we'll hit 5. I cannot do this. But I think we'll hit 6 endurance charges total. We also have the 1 minimum right here from Disciple. So that means we actually have quite a lot of life regen, and that life regen means that we get our 50 rage. And so then we can run Berserk. And so I can run Berserk with this build with these totems, and I do get the damage bonus from it. And it makes our life quite a bit nicer. Yeah, so I decided to put these in here. The reason my recovery doesn't feel awful while having these in here is that our Tukohama lets my totems leech for me, and that works as pretty much permanent uptime for leech, because the totems will always be attacking. There's not going to be a downtime like if you're a melee build or whatever, where you hit full HP, then you get hit, and suddenly you have no life regen. These totems will constantly keep me leeching, and my regen is giving me rage. So it's actually worked out pretty damn well, and this has just been a really nice damage upgrade for the build. I'm actually still running both of the Deceiver. This one is just kind of hard to replace. It's got some nice resist, it's got strength, the reduced extra damage from crits is actually a nice tank boost, and the Intimidate is a really solid damage boost. So it's going to take a little while to replace this. The Mandate might be better, but it's also like 1.5 Divines, and I don't actually think it's all that much better if I can't get Intimidate elsewhere. So realistically, I think both of the Deceiver is probably going to stay in this build until I reroll to the next character, realistically. So next we've got our Alberon's Warpath, of course. I just went ahead and got max roll percent strength. I've been running this the whole time. Flasks are pretty damn scuffed right now. I've just got a random life flask. I did roll this a little bit just to get the flask effect is not removed, because I need that, and the remove curses is just there because this is how I found the flask. I then just ran with an armor flask. This is still like, I think, the level 4 Quicksilver flask, and then a random blank sulfur flask. I really need to roll these. I've been kind of lazy about that. Skill gems. So the main setup I already showed you guys, Volcanic, Fissure, Earthbreaker, of course. Then our main damage support thing going on is Ancestral Protector. Running that with multiple totems, Combustion, and Culling Strike. So this is kind of a secondary helpful thing. The way this works, our Volcanic Fissure has a max totem count of 3. So I have the 1 base, 1 from this, and 1 from the keystone in the tree. We can have 3 Volcanic Fissure totems. Well, then Ancestral Protector is running multiple totems, and so that means this has another +2 maximum, and it summons 2 at once. So we can have these 3 up, and you can see that 3 right here. Then we can press W, summon 2 Ancestral Protectors, and we have 5 total totems. And that's without losing any DPS to run multiple totem support in our main damage setup, and we still get the nice buff from Ancestral Protector. That's the setup. With the Consecrated Path version of this build or whatever that people did last league, you run Ancestral Warchief as well, Vol Ancestral Warchief in particular, because it gets the +1 maximum. Well, I'm not running that because it ended up being kind of clunky to work around. You had to resummon a lot of totems to get the proper setup of 3-1-1 with your totems. And also, the damage from Ancestral Warchief does not affect Volcanic Fissure's projectile portion. It does affect the AoE hit, but it does not affect the projectile portion, and the projectile portion is a good half of its damage. At least. If it's a big hitbox, then it's a lot more than half. So that means it's really not all that worth the extra clunkiness and socket pressure, so I ended up dropping Vol Ancestral Warchief. Now, that is a remarkable DPS loss for the build. I believe the Ancestral Warchief setup, with all the extra effect of buffs from your Ancestor totems from the tree, here, here, and here, it means that it's probably a good doubling of our damage when we have Vol Ancestral Warchief up, if you were pure melee, with like Consecrated Path or whatever. It's been fine without it. I'm gonna probably maybe look at those unique boots that gives you another 100% buff effect of your totems, because that will be better than the extra strength from these boots, certainly, for my damage. But it also says you can only have 1 ancestral totem effect on your character at one time. So I'm not sure how it's going to work, because Earthbreaker does actually count as an ancestor totem, and it does have a buff. It gives you area of effect with melee skills. So we would technically have 2 ancestor totem effects. I don't know if there's like a order, you know, whichever one was the first to be summoned or the most recent to be summoned or something like that, as far as those boots, or if it makes it to where one of them just doesn't work. you know, the first one works and anything after that doesn't. I don't know. I intend to test that if the boots aren't too expensive, because getting another 100% effective Ancestor Totems onto our Ancestral Protector will make the opportunity cost of not running War Chief a little bit smaller. And so I think it'll be better. I will say, being able to run Ancestor War Chief is a very big argument for not using this new skill. Being able to run Ancestor War Chief will basically double the DPS of a Consecrated Path or Tectonic Slam or whatever you want to use. And, you know, that's a big more multiplier. So unless I can make up that opportunity cost with some other thing that would be mutually exclusive with the Ancestor War Chief, it's going to be kind of hard to justify the new skill. But it's been working pretty well for me so far, and it makes the build a lot less clunky, so I've been sticking with that. Next we've got, I'm just leveling Consecrated Path. We got a Blood and Stand Aura, Leap Slam, Summon Lightning Golem, Precision, Skitterbots, Enduring Cry on left click. I'm leveling up an Anger. It's level 20, so that's nice. There's no reason to flip that. I'm running a Flammability that I just self-cast because I'm a totem build. I can kind of just do that. We got cast when damage taken, Immortal Call. This is just like I said I was going to do in my video before the league start. It's a really sexy setup. Valico, Enduring Cry, Call to Arms, and cast when damage taken, Immortal Call. That little combo right there. I mean, it's a lot of pieces, I'll admit, but they're all kind of low opportunity cost, because Valico also just gives you endurance charges, life regen, and 15% more DPS. So it's not like you're losing out on taking a pure tank ascendancy point. And with this whole setup, you get all the life regen, you get endurance charges. This also gives you more effect of your endurance charges while it's active. You get Immortal Call to proc, which then gives you the 15% more damage from Valico, and you become basically unkillable while Immortal Call is active. And if you take this little wheel right here to get your little bit of extra armor, you also get the guard skill buffs, which makes it uptime even better. So I really love that combo. I use it all the time. And then I've got Berserk, which I just use on middle click whenever I want to have Berserk. And with Berserk active, you know, things are pretty easy. You know, you have this up, you have Berserk up, and the Leap Slam becomes actually a very fast build with all these effects up at once. So as far as the skill tree, go into detail here, things are pretty damn similar to what I proposed at the start. I told you with the Ascendancy nodes, we dropped Tesalio, took Hinakura, did not take Nahamahu, and instead took Ramako. Because we are no longer Fizz Convert, so we just get the Fire Pin, and we need the 10% extra strength, and the Covered in Ash is obviously a big damage boost. Running this for the Leech and the effective buffs, and then this for that whole Endurance Charge Immortal Call setup I was talking about. I really like that combo with Valico. It single-handedly makes Chieftains tanky. Very sexy. Just a bunch of life. We needed some accuracy when I switched off of Resolute Technique, so I took this. I went here for the life and reduced cost of skills, which is always nice. We path over here, life, endurance charge, life. Got our strength stacking, call to arms, bit of fire damage and stuff, life, the armor and things. Of course, we're going to take the totem wheel. This mastery right now I have as a taunt. I think it's pretty damn useful for the build. And then the bit of endurance charge stacking just for some more AoE and damage and armor and things. This may not be worth it, this whole little setup right here. It actually very well may not be worth it at all to, to spend these 5 points. I may investigate that in a POB at a later date, but I kind of like it. Because to be honest, our endurance charges are down a decent amount of the time whenever an Immortal calls, so this may be very well wasted effort. We come up here, we grab the Cluster Jewel just to have this Ancestral Guidance one for the action speed and the extra effective buffs, and we get a Jewel Socket here. I just kind of went looking for Jewel Sockets with life, any 2 DPS mods, and then like resists or something. And I got this for probably like, I think 15C. It's really nice. Got this jewel here, I think for like 5C. Also pretty nice. Not as good as this one though, of course. Yep, life, damage, Totem wheel here. I take the mastery for the buffs linger. Once again, just kind of makes the build a little smoother. Whenever your Ancestral Protectors die, you don't immediately just lose all your damage. Life, damage, of course the +1 totem, and then over here for Ellie Overload. Right now I'm pathing through Sovereignty for some extra aura space. If I get Sovereignty, and then maybe I path over here and we can grab things like Champion of the Cause. I might try and fit Anger into the build instead of Skitterbots. I'm not sure. Also, I probably should, if we drop Skitterbots, I'll need to run the Mastery here for all damage with maces and chill, which will obviously make my life a lot easier. You know, everything's chilled. But right now, Skitterbots is doing that for me, so I saved the point. As far as what I'm going to do with the build in the next few levels, like I said, R reservation. If I decide that I don't need all that much R reservation, then I will instead either go for stun immunity here. Stuns have been kind of annoying. Maybe get some max res here with Volcanic Skin. If I go the Crown of Eyes route, then I'll definitely need to come over here and grab Iron Will. So that's a bunch of points as well. So that'll need to happen whenever I do Crown of Eyes. And I'll probably end up dropping Disciple of the Unyielding to do that. So yeah, I think that covers the character pretty much. The build has been pretty nice. I have enjoyed it quite a bit. And I'm just gonna, I suppose I probably should have done this at the beginning of the video, but I'll give you guys a quick little build showcase. We'll do tier 14, how about that? Yeah, sure, that works. I don't really want to do an influence, but we'll do it. Influence might make it a little too rippy, but hey, we'll give it a go. So yeah, make sure you have your Ancestral Protectors up, makes your build a lot faster. GMP makes this kind of a what is visibility situation, but it was already kind of like that before. Oh shit. Oh, I've got a Headhunter stack. Is there any way to get rid of that? I think I have Soul Eater. I think it's gonna kind of mess up the showcase here. It's about to run out in a few seconds. Yeah, there we go. And so now that we're sitting here, I'm gonna go ahead and Berserk, make our life a little easier with this Harbinger. Oh, I'm already at eight reserved Sanctum rooms, so I need to run that. I'm gonna get rid of the shrine once again, just to not spoil the showcase. The one thing you actually kind of have to be worried about is not using your Volcanic Fissure totems too much, because they actually have a very long time to activate when you first totem them, summon them. And so I'll have issues where don't have much chaos res, those enemies will hurt. I'll have issues where I'll just keep summoning the totems and they just spend all their time winding up to attack and never actually get to do their damage. Now, I'll go ahead and do the boss and then I'll end the video here. Alright. Oh, just almost got it. Now I'm gonna have to wait through all the phases. So I just switch over to Blood and Sand, drop down the flammability. Oh, and he's down. Look at that. Nice drop as well. So yeah, that is the build. It's been going pretty well for these first couple days. It's felt reasonably tanky. It's definitely not super tanky. You saw my health drop a decent amount in the middle of that, but we've got the totem taunt and all that. The single target damage on big hitboxes like that boss is very nice actually. On things like Rogue Exiles, things that move a lot, have small hitboxes, your damage drops off a lot. I'd probably do like a quarter or less the DPS I was doing to that guy to like a Rogue Exile that's running around a lot. So those are kind of a pain in the butt. I've been running Rogue Exiles for the Chaos recipe and all of that. It's been good. I'm probably going to start unspecking out of it now because up in red tier maps, they're a little too hard. All in all, I think it's been a pretty damn nice build, and if anyone else has done this build, I hope it's gone well for you. Thanks for watching the video, and I will see you all later.